Goedemiddag. Ieder jaar aan het eind van december en vrijwel altijd op 28 december viert het Amsterdamse ballongezelschap, zeg maar de brede supportgroep van Ruigoord, de alternatieve Amsterdammers, vieren dan in Paradiso hun grote feest. Dit jaar heet het De Generale en gaat het over de laatste voorbereidingen voor het millennium. Vorig jaar ging het over groenoord. In 1997 werd namelijk Groenoord ontruimd. Daar werd toen eind december 1997 een fantastisch spektakel over opgevoerd in Paradiso. We laten u die beelden zien omdat ze zo leuk zijn, zo tegen het jaareinde. Omdat er deze week ook weer het feest van 1998 is dus. En omdat het echt Amsterdam is. En u kunt toch een beetje zien wat voor leven er nog in de brouwerij is in Groenoord.
Staat me daar een dikke haag ermee als om jou te verkrachten ons dreigend op te wachten.
Kalmloos vriend, zo van de rand, van het zo lieflijke platteland, blijft het voor ons nog wennen aan hoe de stad zijn fratsen wennen. Wat echt gezag straalt met hem heen, als schuim op scholven van de zee. Wat is de slagkracht van de macht als niet een knuppel ingebracht?
Maar, roosje lief, een burgervader die blijft zijn kiezersvolk toch nader als hij wat met agenten kent. Je laat je kennen als regent. Ze hadden toch zo'n moeilijk jaar. De zaken raakten door elkaar, per spoedtegel een referendum, per ambtenaar 10 memorandums.
Toch, Floris lief, zo is de politiek, waar alles stinkt wat maar een beetje riekt. Moet die partij nou een pispareltje zijn, omdat hij geen verschil weet tussen wijn of azijn? Natuur, die is maar duur. Een blauw borstje heeft minder gewicht dan een knakworstje. Er moet gehavend worden en gevliegveld. De run op de toekomst gaat nu versneld.
En hoe, mijn rozenbruid, hoe ongevraagd wordt elke beslissing door de raad gejaagd. En wat besloten is, een uur geleden, is het volgende uur alweer vergeten. De enige uitweg nu voor de hoge heren is alle diensten losvast te privatiseren. Dan wordt voor elke dienst het dubbele betaald en gratulie de burger het geld uit de zak gaan.
Ach, Floris, klagen is in deze stad gewoon. Hogere belasting, dat is des klagers loon. Maar hoe de stad haar horizon verlegt, dat is toch ongehoord en tevens ongezegd. Was met het nieuwe jaar eerst Ruigoord ingelicht, werd later door de stovels Groenoord platgelikt. De heren in het kasteel is elk kasteel te veel. Platwalsen is de leus, al kost het nog zoveel.
Genoeg gezegd, mijn schat. Gelukkig moeten we mensen. Dus zeggen wij tezamen.
O beste mensen, wees blij met je bestuur. Ze waken elk uur over eigen belang. Meer moet je niet verlangen. Het burgemeestershuis is als een echte thuis. Geld komt van voren binnen, de stroom komt achteruit. Wie het tussen weet te winnen, die komt het beste uit.
Links! Links!
Uitstekend werk, kerels. Uitstekend werk.
Prima vangst. Bind er maar vast aan die Amsterdammer daar. Ja?
Wij zullen die maagd eens een teuntje lager laten zingen. Schitterende kerstsurprise.
Daar zullen ze bij de ondernemersclub van opkijken, zeg.
Ja, Koolsen die zit ook wel omhoog gaan schieten nu, zeg, kerel.
Bijna uitgevoerd.
Mooi zo, mannen. Blijf paraat.
Zeg, sta je daar lekker, schatje? We komen je zo weer even fouilleren.
À la Kluivert. En als je ons ter wille bent, ga je een glanzende carrière tegemoet.
Als stedenmaagd van Mainport Schiphol. Tut. Die kattenkop die heeft nog praatjes ook. Als ze niet horen wil, dan moet ze maar voelen.
Oké, wij gaan aan het werk. Het provinciaal bestuur heeft ons ten leste bevrijd uit ons benauwde vesten.
Kijk tot aan de horizon, mijlen vol te bouwen grond.
Havens, industrie tot aan de zee, Velsen en Spaarwouw pakken we ook nog mee.
Havens, torens en kantoren en misschien al oliebeuren.
Als die groenen het niet verstoren, aan dat gespuis erger ik maar scheel.
Elektrocuteer ze met hun eigen zonnepaneel. Want als wij ons gat eindelijk kunnen graven, dan gooien we al die milieuactivisten in onze haven. Weg met alle beeld, Als hij niet kunnen jagen is de lucht nog niet besteld.
we have the blessings of Santa the Prudent. Breathe on Mother Earth. Cherish that precious land, that wonder of nature grown up from the sand. Sing on the sacred fields. Long live the sanctuary. Spiral, TV, golden ball, so many hearts together in just one soul. Indigenous peoples are shared in this spirit. A prayer goes round the planet. Ruigoord is in it. Grow again, groenoord. Grow and green again. One fortress is down, but the fighters still remain.
Millennium. De volgende eeuw. Het volgende millennium. De verandering van de 1 in de 2 in onze datum. Een gebeurtenis die dus maar 1 keer in de 1000 jaar voorkomt. En die om allerlei redenen heel belangrijk is. Psychologisch. Qua computerproblematiek. Omdat er iets gaat veranderen. We weten het niet. Het einde van het Aquarius-tijdperk. We hebben een aantal gesprekken met mensen over millennium. Vandaag doen we dat in het Engels met fantuzzi. Fantuzzi is master drummer, entertainer. And someone who has traveled the breadth and the width of the alternative world. Huh?
I have traveled quite a bit, the alternative and the not so alternative. And very happy to be here with you, Luc Sala.
Fantuzzi, for me, you are someone who is in tune with the rhythm of times. You're a master drummer, but you do that at occasions like the Cannabis Cup in Amsterdam, the Ruigoord festivals, but also on many, many international festivals, the rainbow festivals all around the world. You perform in California. You live in Los Angeles most of the time?
No, I'm based out of San Francisco, but I traveled to Hawaii and Australia and many places. So I'm kind of an eclectic global troubadour, you know.
Now, as a troubadour and a songwriter and a drummer, you have to have a feeling for what the mood of the people is. Well, how do people feel about millennium?
Well, the people have many mixed feelings. There seems to be a new hysteria coming up, and very nervous about this problematic thing.
A panic.
A major panic. I mean, like you can't conceive. Right now there are workshops going on all over the United States, and people are very, very nervous about what's happening. But I don't...
When you say workshop, are you talking about workshops for the computer bug, the millennium bug, or are these survivalists?
I think it's a little bit of both. We're talking about people who are very concerned about the computer situation, but also are afraid that all of the different ways to get food and different things to survive with are not going to be there, including electricity, blah, blah, blah. So these people...
Water,
basic amenities, telephone.
Exactly. And people are very, very nervous about this. Now, we were around before these computers. So my personal feeling is that computers or no computers, we're going to be here, and they're not really going to make much of a difference. Of course, there's a paradox going on. My feeling is that the millennium is going to bring the rebirth of Christ in consciousness, not as being, but the enlightenment, the rebirth of consciousness. Very subtle way.
As a lifetime.
You have the man of this is the only one and been around, but lots of is to bring hope and see. We get to it here be more kind of way.
But you say that because we're going through dark times, that will leave some kind of catharsis with the people, and they'll realize maybe we don't need all this electricity or all this modern stuff. There's another way of life. There's another way of being.
That, yes, but not only that we don't need, it's more like, and it's not only that, but that will be using like all of the different things that bring us into an awareness of, well, we may not live, then what is life? You see, a little bit of a wake-up call, a little bit of a bell is happening. And I feel that this is going to cause people to think about their lives and about the way they live their lives. Not necessarily that we can do without this or do without that, but maybe that's so too. Maybe that too, you know. But mostly it's more about why are we here, and what are we going to do with our energies that we are here? Are we just going to continue chasing our own tail, or are we going to get busy waking up the planet?
Now, you are part of a movement, say what we now call the Rainbow Movement. You've been to many of their gatherings. We're actually here in Dalfsen, which is in Holland, where there's a small rainbow gathering going on. We're sitting in front of a spiral. Teepees are being built behind us.
Drums are being played in the background.
Yeah. Is that a new awareness?
Definitely, this is an ancient new awareness.
It's a revival of the old.
Yeah, of the old ways of living communally, as opposed to everybody separate in their own little apartments. We share our food. We share our God-given gifts. If you have the gift of writing, then you put that to work. If someone else has the gift of teaching massage, I know there's a massage class going there right now. So everybody living, you know, back to nature and getting close to the, you know, the basic things in life, to enjoy life. You know, we're here to live, not just to make the big dollar, you know, and not to become necessarily famous or powerful or rich. But to find out what life is and what love is and what light is and who we are and how we relate. So this revival is happening simultaneously all over the world. It's known as Rainbow, but not only as Rainbow, it's also ecology conscious people, and there's also alternative people of every sort going on. Even your basic native people are learning different ways to be in tune with nature so that they don't hurt nature, because there's a lot of chemicals that are made that now some third world people use. First world people don't see any use for them or find out they're no good, so they sell them to third world people. Thank God some of them are waking up and are not using them or finding alternative ways of being. So this rainbow consciousness is waking up all over the world. Right now, Australia is booming, and right now in Europe, in Israel, in Africa, we have rainbow gatherings going on, and it's just a sign of that, especially the young people, but all people are looking for something with a little bit more depth.
Yeah, but that's true, and the people are here, and you know, this morning there was Tai Chi and massage and all the things that we maybe associate with the New Age. But then you look what's happening with the New Age movement. That's on a wider scale a little bit dying in the West.
Well, you could say it's a little bit dying, but I don't believe that it's dying. I think that it just doesn't have the same kind of, it's like the hippie movement. You think that the hippie movement is dead? You're wrong. The hippie movement isn't dead. It's just changed, that's all. It's in this corner over here. Same thing with the New Age movement. I go now to a Whole Life Expo, And before, there used to only be like one producer for a Whole Life Expo in maybe 1 or 2 major cities in the United States. There's now 20 different promoters in 40 different cities, at least in America. And we're talking about, these are big, big events where easily 10, 20, 30,000 people walk into these events. So we can't call that dead.
Yeah. Yesterday you told a story about how the beginning of the Rainbow Tribe, as we now can see it, started with 6 people who had this idea of bringing people together, and they made a trip from the east to the west in the USA, and they went to every health food store they passed, and those were all the health food stores. They put up signs, and they brought together, what was it, 20,000 people?
40,000 people came to the first Rainbow Gathering.
Yeah, but now if someone wants to go to all the health food stores in the States, he has to, months of work.
Well, actually, they took 1 year to go across the country and doing this, and you couldn't do it. You'd have to go up and down the coast, and then up and down, and like as you go across. And in fact, by the time you get across, there'll be that many more new health food stores that have opened up.
So that's changing. People are a little bit more living healthy and living in ecology. Music, you make music. For me, being a little outsider in music, I haven't seen much new music after the house. We came from the Beatles and some revival music, African music. We got the house music. What's new? What did you see a new change there for the millennium? Is there something like millennium beat?
Well, I don't know about a millennium beat, but we find world music, world beat music growing in a wonderful way. We find also rainbow music growing right now. There's people singing these songs that are more like chants, and they know these chants all around the world. You see some things coming up, and maybe it's not maybe it's on a more grassroots level, which I think is healthy. So the record companies, well, they're trying to figure out what's the new music to make the money, and maybe they can't figure it out because it's not as marketable. Maybe it's much more from person to person, community to community. That's what I see is happening. And of course, you also, even though reggae music has been around, you see great leaps and bounds in world beat music, including Latin music, reggae music, because you have right now Japan buying more reggae music than any part of the world, and you see Latin music is loved right here in Holland, yeah? It is waar, yeah?
You're not a real Rastafari, but what's the Rastafaris? How do they feel about the millennium?
Well, I won't know. I wouldn't call myself Rastafarian, though I do follow the faith and have a lot of agreements in the ways of looking at life. And how they see the millennium, well, actually, they don't buy that. A Rastaman is into the culture, roots and culture, strictly roots and culture. None of this, fanning new millennium stuff. They don't really go, Rastaman don't go for Christmas and all these different things that, calendars come up with.
They go for the now.
They go for the now, they go for the eternal, for the Most High, just to give thanks and praises and going back to the roots, sitting around the sacred fire, singing the songs of praises to the Most High. And it don't matter if it's New Year's or if it's New Millennium, it's now, like you said. It's the moment. You got to grasp the moment to serve your community, to serve the Most High. Cha, right?
naar Transbuda.
Hoofd. Beheugen in de stress. Stoffen die engstelijk en lichamelijk even uitgevoerde basisvitaminen, aminozuren en ruiden. Egosoft Smart Drinks.
Maar niet alleen voor een PC, ook voor software, zoals Windows 98. En allerlei apparatuur, zoals scanners, CD-writers en natuurlijk ook meningcomputertjes, zoals deze kleine C-Windows Nino.
Himalaya, wel bij jezelf.
Tijd voor het millennium, tijd voor de euro, tijd voor de